Now before we get into the video, I do want to say a massive thank you to today's video sponsors, and once again that is JerseyFIFA.com. They really do help keep the content on this channel going, and they even sent me a free shirt which you can see on screen here. And as you can see, I got the new Manchester United home kit, and genuinely the kit really is top quality. I highly recommend their product. So make sure to get in a link in the description down below, and now if you use code JerseyFIFA at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order. You get a great football shirt, and you help support the channel, which I really do appreciate massively. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where we are back with another World Cup tactical preview, and today we are talking about Luis Enrique's Spain side. And actually, one of the most fascinating and interesting teams heading into the tournament. Now when we talk about Spain, we always talk about that nice brand of tiki-taka football, a lot of possession, really easy on the eye. Is it the same this year? That's the question. Well, the approach will be the same. The idea always with Spain, sorry about the delay in the tactics board there, the idea with Spain is always to have possession of the ball, and that is exactly what Spain will try to do again this year. However, in trying to do that, Luis Enrique is actually really struggling to find his best 11, and that's what I just want to quickly go through before we go through anything else. So, Unai Simon will most likely be the goalkeeper, although Sanchez and Raya will both provide competition. As soon as we get into the back four, instantly there are question marks. Now, at right back we have Carvajal versus Azpilicueta, a battle which I think Carvajal edges. Pau Torres will be the centre-back. For me, he's Spain's best centre-back. The other questions, though, are the other centre-back spot and the left-back spot. So, at left-back we have Jordi Alba and Gaia competing. Neither of them are in very good form. Jordi Alba barely even plays for Barcelona, but Gaia just isn't the quality of Jordi Alba. So there's the first problem. I think it will be Jordi Alba, but he isn't the fullback that he once was. Now, he could hit some form and have a really good tournament, in which case this becomes a strength for Spain. But kind of going into it, the fullbacks look a little bit past it. And then at centre-back, the other issue, Garcia or Laporte. Now, kind of initially, straight off the bat, that seems like quite an obvious answer. Laporte is one of the best centre-backs in the world. However, Luis Enrique seems hesitant to play two left-footed centre-backs, which makes me think that Eric Garcia might get into the team. In which case, it makes it Laporte versus Torres. Torres is the one that is usually chosen. Whether you like it or not, that is who Enrique normally goes for, so I think it will be Pau Torres. As we move into the midfield, we have more question marks. Rodri, for me, is Spain's best holding midfielder. However, we all know how good Sergio Busquets is. And we know that he's another player that Luis Enrique likes. He used him at Barcelona, he's used him plenty of times for Spain in the past. Is it now time for Rodri to come into the team? In my opinion, yes. More than anything, for what he does off the ball. I think Spain need his defensive work. Carrying on in midfield, Pedri, for me, is probably the one guaranteed starter in this squad. Probably the star man in the Spain team. Right centre mid, there's a few options. Koke has played there recently, Gavi can play there, as can Llorente, again. Question marks. We don't know who is going to play for Spain. Even if we move further forward, there's more uncertainty. Up front, Morata has been the main man for the past several years now, actually. However, there has been hints that Asensio could be brought into the side to play as a false nine, and it is something that Spain used in a couple of their games before the tournament. So again, there's question marks. And then on the wing, there's no standout quality. Ferran Torres has failed to impress since his move to Barcelona, and then someone like Sarabia on the left wing. Is that really the quality that Spain need to win a World Cup? Not sure. Question marks everywhere. And actually, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on that. The fact that there are so many question marks over the Spanish team. Do you think it's a good thing? Because if I'm in Spain's group, it's quite unpredictable. I don't know how they're going to set up. For example, if I'm Hansi Flick, the Germany manager, I don't know how Spain are going to set up in terms of personnel. Or is it a bad thing because it means that Spain don't know their best 11? Which one suggests a lack of form from certain players, but also suggests potentially a lack of team chemistry, which is important in international football. Players haven't developed partnerships with each other. The big issue for me in that situation is the centre-back pairing. These are the last 5 games for Spain. There is only one pairing which has played twice in the last 5 games. That was Martinez and Garcia. Martinez isn't in the Spain squad now. So, your guess is as good as mine in terms of who the centre-back pairing will be. Personally, I think Pau Torres and Garcia, but that has just got to be an issue. Centre-back is a position where players need to develop an understanding, a relationship, a balance with each other. None of these centre-backs have had the chance to do that, so that will be a concern for Spain. Regardless of that, that's kind of the negative talk out of the way. Regardless of that, Spain will be good on the ball. We know they will. Spain always are. Their players are very technically gifted. One of the most technically gifted teams on the planet when we look at the team. So they will be okay, and they will find their way out of pressure in most games. Particularly in the group, Germany are the only team that are likely to put them under pressure. Spain are a team that will cope with that. That will be a really good game to watch. But for most of this tournament, if Spain are to go all the way, they will dominate the ball in most of the matches. And to do that, they will use a 2-3-2-3 shape, which kind of looks a little bit like this. Garcia and Pau Torres will be given plenty of touches on the ball. Rodri will play as a singular pivot. We'll then see Koke and Pedri playing as 2-3-8s. The fullbacks getting forward, like so, and then the wingers really holding the width. Something we're seeing a lot at the moment in modern football, two wingers really stretching the pitch as big as possible. From here, the question for me is going to be, can Spain break teams down? Now, I feel like I've been saying that a lot today because I've recorded several videos, but I think that is one of the big question marks for all of the big teams. I think a lot of these lesser sides are going to sit quite deep. The question for the biggest teams is, can you break them down? And it's a lot easier said than done. We all want to see this quick, free-flowing football, but international level in particular is really difficult, simply because the managers have less time with the players. So it's much harder to work on different patterns of play, things like that, to break teams down. So having this width is going to be really important for Spain, spreading the pitch as much as possible. It's also going to allow the fullbacks to occasionally make underlapping runs, both Carvajal and Alba, but also Koke and Pedri, or whoever else it may be in midfield. They are going to be important for getting the ball forward, and for me, Pedri might be Spain's most important player. In fact, I think he is. I think he is the star. I think he is the man who is going to be very responsible for progressing the ball forward. Now, someone like Rodri in midfield, very good at progressing the ball, but it's the way that Pedri does it. Rodri does it more with his passing, as does Pau Torres, as does Garcia, as does Koke. Pedri is a player that will pick up the ball and dribble past players, carry the ball forward. That is something which can break defensive systems. For example, if you are set up man-to-man in the midfield like this, you've got your player on Rodri here, your player on Koke here, your player on Pedri, and initially you look like you're in a good defensive situation because you've got yourselves matched up man for man. Pedri is the sort of player who, with his ball carrying ability, that ability to go past a player, it obviously breaks the defensive system. You're set up to defend in 1 versus 1s, you lose your 1 versus 1, then you've got an issue. So Pedri really is going to be key, and the key to stopping Spain will be to try and stop him. Of course, it won't be quite as simple as that. Pedri isn't that easy to stop, and also Spain will create overloads in midfield. It's something that they've done for well over a decade now. And whether it's Morata or Asensio up front, they will look to drop into deeper areas, and if opposition teams aren't careful, they will find themselves 4 versus 3 against the Spanish midfield, which you do not want to do. You cannot afford to be a man down against these defenders. Against these midfielders, sorry. The question for the opposition is, how do you react to that? Do you drop your line deeper like this to prevent the space, or do you ask your centre-backs to play aggressively? Something which I would watch out for if I were you. Although, again, if an opposition team does that, it does create space for someone like Ferran Torres to get in behind. This Spanish team will cause problems, but I just feel like they might be in a bit of a similar situation to what England are at the moment, where they will dominate the ball for most of the games, but they've got to make sure they keep the tempo. They've got to keep the width initially to stretch the pitch, stretch the opposition, but they have to keep the tempo, they have to keep the ball moving. When you move the ball side to side really slowly, it's very easy for the opposition to just kind of shuttle from one side, shuttle to the other side, shuttle back again. It's quite easy to do and keep the gaps closed. When you move the ball side to side at a quicker pace and use long switches, use the pitch, use the width, then you can open up little pockets of space. For example, if you can get the ball in these areas, switch it out and then get these underlapping runs, that's what Spain need to do. Yes, they need an element of patience, they don't want to be forcing things, but they need to make sure they keep the tempo, because if not, they are really, really at risk of becoming stale. Especially when, no disrespect to the players, the likes of Sarabia and Ferran Torres, they don't look like the sort of players that are going to pick out an incredible pass out of nowhere which completely splits a defence. Spain look like they're lacking that magician, that guy who's going to do something out of absolutely nothing and get them out of jail at times, or just provide a bit of magic to open the scoring. That's where I worry for Spain. I do think they're going to struggle for goals. And that was actually the case in the Nations League. In 6 games, they only created 13 big chances and scored 8 goals, which, it's not the worst statistic in the world. You can kind of live with it. But their Nations League group was reasonable. You know, you could get results here, you could create chances. Spain didn't really do that. Now, some of that will be due to rotation. We saw a lot of teams rotating in the Nations League, but I think there's a bit of an underlying issue there. Where are the goals going to come from for Spain? Now, Morata will be the main man. He will be the man expected to score the goals, but in terms of players in this squad scoring goals for Spain, the fact that Jordi Alba is third is probably a little bit concerning. And your top scorer, Morata, isn't even averaging a goal every 2 games. Not even that quite. So that's my big worry for Spain. Where do your goals come from? And it's something that Enrique is going to have to try and figure out. And as of yet, he hasn't really managed to do it. Like I said, it was a problem at the Euros as well. Spain struggled to score. And honestly, watch out for Spain going to a penalty shootout. Assuming they get through the group, which I'll go through in a second, watch out for these guys going all the way to penalties, because there's just a lack of chance creation. Watch out for it. I think this Spain team could fall flat on their face. At the same time, if someone like Pedri really hits red-hot form, and so does Morata as well, and Ferran Torres, Spain can go all the way, because they have quality in their squad. I just think the squad's a little stale. The squad is a little stale, and what worries me as a result of that is that they might try and push too many men forward for the sake of trying to create overloads in the final third, trying to attack the opposition. And then when you've got a team like Germany in their group, who have the likes of Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry on the counter-attack, that's where Spain could become exposed. If teams are going to sit deep and hit them on the break. We saw Switzerland doing it already this year. Germany, no offence to Switzerland, have more attacking talent and more transitioning threat than what Switzerland do. So if Switzerland could cause those problems for Spain, I can't help but think that the Germans might be able to as well, because they've got some really dynamic forwards. In terms of the other games of the group, I kind of said the same for Germany, that I think Spain will be alright against Japan and Costa Rica, so I do still think Spain will get through the group. The big game will be Spain versus Germany, which I'm really looking forward to. I think there's some fascinating tactical battles. But in terms of long-term in the tournament, can Spain go all the way and win it? They can, because they do have quality. Players like Pedri, one of the best young footballers in the world. Gavi, a very good young midfielder. In Rodri, they have maybe the best holding midfielder at the tournament. Good ball-playing centre-backs, a good goalkeeper. It's just the front three, just a lack of cutting edge. They just look a bit toothless up front. In those forward areas, I'm just not sure that they have the chance creation and goal-scoring ability to really hurt the best teams. In those games where it's tight against Germany, but in the knockouts against a team like France, against England, against Argentina, whoever it might be, however it plays out, I just don't think they have that cutting edge to cause problems for those teams. Now, I might be wrong. If you think I am, let me know in the comments down below. But I just worry a little bit for Spain. Can they win it? Absolutely. The quality is there, and they have one of the best managers at the tournament, if not the very best. But I'm just a little bit worried about the squad. If it weren't for Enrique, I really wouldn't be expecting much from Spain at all this year. The fact that they have such a good tactician certainly gives them a chance. They are in with a shout in those tight games. But yeah, that's kind of all I've got to say on Spain, because I think they're a bit of a team that fail to flatter at the moment. So that's all I've got to say on them. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. There's a couple more of these videos on the way before the tournament starts. So subscribe, turn notifications on to make sure you don't miss those videos. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.